This I have never ever seen before.
That's right, everybody. The Evil Empire is back. Welcome to the first episode of our Team Sky career mode. It's a familiar sponsor, familiar objectives, but a new look team around one familiar face. And before we go any further, let me introduce you to the team. And of course, we have to start off with 37-year-old Chris Froome, the best cyclist in the 2010s, four-time winner of the Tour de France, one-time Giro d'Italia winner, and one-time Vuelta a España winner. It's going to be a final year for him, back in his familiar colors, and he doesn't look terrible. I mean, he might be able to win a few smaller stage races, but it's going to be good to see him back in the Team Sky branding for his final year. And up next, we have our heaviest hitter, our highest rated rider, Ben Healy, the Irish national champ and Irish national time trial champion. He's going to be a little puncher who can also get out and do things on his own. We're expecting him to come through for us in single day races and maybe look to steal some green jersey points in the longer GC races. And for our second highest rated rider, we have Fred Wright, who is also my favorite rider in real life. He is a hilly sprinter, good on the cobbles, a bit of an all-around kind of guy. We're going to lean on him in a lot of different types of races this year. Can't wait to get to use him. And our third highest rated rider, Max Poole, is going to be our GC candidate in most of our objectives. And he's only 19 years old, not a ton of potential, but he looks like he can be competitive right away and win us some races. And as for the rest of the squad, we're very solid. Got a lot of guys that can do a lot of things really well, but nothing too great. If we look at our mountains, we do inclines very well. Mountains, medium mountains, and hills, we all have a ton of great riders. As well as being in the UK, we're going to have good time trialists, but where we're really thin are cobbles and sprinters. For cobbles, Fred Wright, Connor Swift, Oyer Lezcano, Samuel Watson, Ben Healy are going to be our 5 guys that can ride them, so hopefully we won't have too many Northern Classics on our schedule, but it's looking a little worse over for sprinter. Ethan Vernon at 75 is our best currently, with John Aberasturi, there we go, at 74, and nobody beyond that can really be classified as a sprinter. But just to get a rundown of everybody on the team, we've got Ben Healy, Fred Wright, Connor Swift, Max Poole, Oyer Lezcano, Antonio Tiberi, Ethan Vernon, Thomas Gloag, Oscar Onley, John Aberasturi, Chris Froome, Paul Double, Josh Tarling, Samuel Watson, Leo Hayter, Lucas Narukar, Darren Rafferty, Davide Piganzoli, Finley Pickering, and Mason Hollyman. So say hello to the Sky 2023 squad. And the objectives that squad is going to be tasked with achieving are going to come early and often. But a lot of our heavy objectives aren't until June. And our biggest objective is the Tour of Britain, which if you've played Pro Cycling Manager, you'll know that September's the best time to have your main objective because it's after the time that you sign a new sponsor for the year. But we will start off our first race, the Trofeo Calvia, is a top 5. That's going to be a low importance objective for us. But come February, we have 3 races. The Volta a la Comunitat Valenciana, the Volta al Algarve, and the O Gran Camino. The Volta al Algarve and the Volta Valenciana are both pretty important too, so we're going to have to get up to speed pretty early. But our biggest objectives for the year are the Tour of Britain, the British National Championships, and the Italian National Road Championships, which makes a ton of sense, but I think we should have a decent shot in all of those races. And the calendar has finally been sorted out. Not much to speak of at the start of January, but once we hit the end of January into February, it starts to pick up. And unfortunately this year, we will not be invited to a Grand Tour, but we are going to request the Giro d'Italia. Besides that, we have been invited to a lot of these World Tour stage races, just nothing too prestigious just yet, which I guess is fair. We're a new team just starting out in Conti Pro, but we're going to make our mark on this division. And for our preseason, we're going to set mostly everybody to just high. We've got a month until our first race, thereabouts 25 days, so I don't think there's really any use of putting everybody at 90 to 95 right this second, but also I never put anybody on low. I don't understand what that's really for. And to start off the year, we will be sending our squad to Alcamo, Italy, the 3-star. Don't think we need more than that. We don't have any giant stars on our team, so I don't think anybody will get mad. We'll just send everybody for, let's say, 7 days, a little halfway through the month. And before we get into our first race, I'm going to introduce you to our staff. We have 3 trainers, all national reputation, with all 3 different types of styles, which I think is going to be good for our training efforts. We have 3 scouts, Tim Berry, Jose Cruz, and Aviad Israel, because as a little side project, I think we're going to push for Asia West to develop a little more. And our doctors, we have a national and international, both on the same salary. Great deal for us for Dario Maruzio. But first, we will go into scouting. We'll set Tim Berry to scout the British Isles, which seems like a good choice. Jose Cruz can go to Spain, and Aviad Israel can take Asia West. And of course, with the scouting to be super effective, you need an under-23 team, which we currently don't have. But I think we will be pulling in enough money to justify it, so we will create our own. We'll just name it something like, let's go Team Sky Juniors. And we can set it to be from the United Kingdom, anywhere we want. It would be nice to get a West Asian team, or West Asian country, I should say. But I think we're going to settle for the United Kingdom. We're going to move that squad down to 9 seems like decent value, and create our U23 team. And Team Sky Juniors in the first season doesn't look particularly great. Joseph Blackmore's already a 3-star, but not a ton of potential. We're going to have to wait for more youngsters to come in before Team Sky Juniors really pays off. But we have been chosen to do the R&D for Cipollini, who are our frame manufacturers this year. Nothing great about these frames, but we're going to do a redesign of the Dolomia model, see if we can't get it better by midway through the season. And terrible news right off the bat. One of our young punchers, Lucas Narukar's potential has dropped to 3 stars from 4.5 stars, which is probably going to spell an early end for him at Team Sky. And more disappointing news to start our season, we did not get accepted into the Tirreno Adriatico or the Giro d'Italia. But finally, some good news. We have arrived at our first race of the season, the Trofeo Calvia. It is an objective. We have to finish in the top 5, and it looks like Fred Wright's going to be our best choice for that. If we look at the favorites, we've got Primoz Roglic, Brandon McNulty, Ethan Hayter. This doesn't really look like it should be too rough on the legs at 137 kilometers, so hopefully we'll be there towards the end. But a +3 day for Ethan Vernon is going to give us a lot of hope at a stage win here, or at least a top 5, which is our objective, as we're going to look to control the pace early on and not let these other teams get an easy breakaway. And with 60k to go, we're not really making a lot of headway on this leading group. Pace is a little bit too low. It's like all the other teams want to try and save their sprinters for last, but since we have the advantage in the hills, we're just not going to let that happen. And with 30k to go, the leading group still has 2 minutes on the peloton, and these windy roads are making it really hard for us to get any kind of traction to chase them down. We did set Piganzoli on to 85, though. We're going to take over the front of this train again, see if we can get there before that last climb. And our attacks are starting to go up the road. We're going to have to pace this back. We might get lost here, but Piganzoli just not doing enough. We're going to bring Oyer Lezcano around and really start to set this pace. Lezcano with 85. Going into the downhill, Fred Wright going to get Vernon onto his wheel. But with 10k to go in 2 minutes, I don't think we're going to be able to catch this leading group, as attack after attack keeps happening. We'll move Lezcano up to 90. And we'll go ahead and use his energy gel. And we'll use Fred and Ethan's right now. And we'll go 99 with Lezcano downhill. We'll slow it down a little bit. So we'll go 99 with Fred Wright. See if he can come around. We can start sprinting with Fred as we miss out on our first objective. And Ethan Vernon just doesn't have it in him to come around. We do end up with a top 10. Ethan Vernon finishes in 10th place. Fred Wright in 13th. Paul Double in 18th. We should have used a lot more stamina there, but it's the first race of the season, got the jitters out of us, and didn't fall too far down the order. But the breakaway ended up staying away. Riley Pickrell in first place. Camilo Ardilla in second, and Jesus David Peña Jimenez rounds out the podium. And Team Jaco Alula ends up winning the team categorization. And not that that really matters. The only important thing is that we did not fulfill our first objective. It was only a half star, so nothing too bad, but Ethan Vernon in 10th place just isn't going to cut it. And I did want to say thank you for watching the first episode. It's more of just a get to know the team and getting everything set up for the beginning of the season kind of episode. But don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe so you can see more. And more importantly, it will just make me feel really good about myself. But I will see you next week with another episode. I want to say thank you and goodbye.